Well, for more on the story, now joined live by Dr. James Danslow, security analyst from King's College London. James, thanks very much for being here with us in the program. Well, in light of the above, let's talk about the timing of those charges. As we know, they were previously dropped. Now, do you think the U.S. is in any way involved in the renewal of them?
Well, maybe in the near future we'll come across some leaked documents showing how the US put pressure on Sweden and Great Britain to secure the arrest of Julian Assange. And I think I'd let people make up their own minds. It's very unusual for a man to be accused of having consensual sex but not necessarily using a condom, but suddenly find himself on the same list, the Interpol list, alongside senior Mexican drug lords. So I think I'd let most people make up their own minds, but it seems to be an incredible coincidence this is happening right now.
Well, as we know, media reports suggest that U.S. is already negotiating a possible extradition with Sweden. Now, there's been some tough language from the U.S. side. In your opinion, what could happen to Assange, and what does America want to do to Assange?
Well, America wants to discredit and dismantle the entire WikiLeaks operation. One of the documents of the recent diplomatic cables was from a Saudi king who suggested that he wanted to cut the head off the snake in Iran to end the regime there. And I think the Americans are attempting a similar thing with WikiLeaks, going after its leader and its most public face and hoping, therefore, that the entire pack of cards will collapse beneath it. And, of course, the Americans are now enlisting the support of other countries and of major international banking networks, of internet hosters. And the odds are really up against Assange and WikiLeaks now. But remember, they were prepared for this somewhat, and they are holding back a series of very sensitive documents on the basis of Assange suddenly disappearing into a legal minefield. Remember, he wasn't expecting to be arrested, and it has happened in the past that often people are arrested on minor crimes, such as potentially what's happening in Sweden, so they can gather more evidence to charge him for more serious crimes under perhaps the Espionage Act, which could see him be jailed for a serious amount of time.
Well, James, Assange has been arrested in the UK, and why do you think he gave himself up so easily to British authorities?
Well, you could argue that he gave himself up because he believes himself to be innocent of this crime, but I think that he didn't expect to be not granted bail. His lawyer talked about how he simply arrived in the clothes he was wearing. He clearly thought that he could secure at least the ability to continue working. Remember, they've only released the sort of a few hundred documents from the diplomatic files so far. They have tens of thousands to go. So clearly this is a cat and mouse game, and WikiLeaks say they will continue to publish these documents regardless of the arrest of Julian Assange. So it seems churlish of the Americans to go so desperately after the messenger when, of course, the message is already out to some degree, and the message is not from his mouth, but rather from the US diplomats themselves. So it's interesting to see what happens next.
Absolutely. James Danslow, thanks very much indeed for being here with us, security analyst from King's College London.